1013.
The top of the hour is presented by Best Buy Metals, making the top of your house the best it can be. Visit bestbuymetalroofing.com.
It's time for The Drive on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, presented by Hardees. We will bring you nonstop sports news from the national and local scene and everything in between. So buckle up and join in on the conversation. It's The Drive.
Don't take no style. Got a thirst for killing. Think about it.
Welcome back to The Drive, Friday, May 9th edition. Once again, Jim Gum with me. I'm Andy Morris, excited to be with you guys today here on The Drive. And obviously, we've talked throughout the entire week. There is a lot happening locally in high school sports, Jim, and we're going to cover all that here in just a second.
Yeah, it's a really important day for, high school sports, where you're obviously going to talk about the Braves. We got a lot of stuff going on. We got some basketball camps. We're going to be talking about that as well. And obviously with the high school, the goal is to get to spring fling, and there's a lot of action going on here locally, and we're excited about our local teams and some of the things. And by the way, I got to say something to all of our listeners out there. It's a serious day when Andy's holding the microphone instead of it being in the microphone holder. So
yeah.
He is dead set to have a great show today.
I took it out of the stand as I'm looking at our notes here, and because I've got to lock in and make sure I'm reading this. We were talking about multitasking before the show, and Jim and I both agreed that we're terrible at it. So let's see if I can hold this mic and read at the same time. It might go back into the microphone stand. But, hey, real quick, we do want to go ahead and let our listeners know today. And I believe, are we streaming? Did you start the stream? Awesome. So we are streaming on mixtv.tv on YouTube, on Facebook as well. So glad to have that platform for our listeners of The Drive. But we got to let you know at 5:30 today, got a special treat for our listeners. Gary Ownby, the voice of the Bears and the Bearettes, is coming on the show, and he is going to talk about the upcoming Scott family basketball camp that's going to be taking place at Bradley Central High School. And I'm going to stop right there because Gary's got all the information, and this is a great camp opportunity that they do annually with the Scott family at Bradley High School.
Yeah, so if you got a kid out there that would like to be a part of this, make sure you're listening at 5:30 to get all of the information that Gary's going to be able to share with you. So it's a great opportunity to get some great coaching, some great insight as to what it takes to play at the highest level. So excited to have Gary out here and talking about this basketball camp.
Yeah, and when you talk local sports history, the Scott family, when you hear that, you think Bradley basketball.
Yep.
Yeah, so
I mean, like I said, when I was going there, Alvin Scott was a local. He was a legend. You're like, oh, Alvin Scott, oh, wow, So, yeah, he's one of the best that's ever come through Bradley County.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, that'll be at 5:30. The voice of the Bears and Barretts, Gary Ownby, will be interviewing the representatives from the Scott family. I don't know how many people Gary's going to have on, but listen, anytime Gary does these segments, he does a great job. So I'm excited to sit here like a fly on the wall and just let him take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, listen, so going back to local high school sports, there was so much going on yesterday that we probably spent a good half hour alone talking high school athletics. But we're going to start because this is actually breaking news. Just went final high school baseball, the region tournament. So we already know that Cleveland defeated Ottawa last night, 14-6. At one point, that game was tied 6-6. Cleveland ended up winning 14-6. Talk about some insane run production late in the game there from the Blue Raiders. So they're in the region championship game. And this is the breaking news. The final between Bradley and Walker Valley just went final. The Bears defeated the Mustangs 1-0 in an absolute pitcher's duel between Tyler Cook and Titus Torbett, and the Bears coming out on top. That game started at 3 o'clock today over at Cleveland High School in order to, make sure there was no traffic
Right.
between the graduation that's taking place for Cleveland and the
right.
baseball game. So they staggered all that to try to make everything work smoothly, I guess is the best way to put it. But so Bradley will advance to the region championship game against Cleveland, and that is game 1 on Sunday over at Cleveland High School.
So that's a really big deal for obviously a gigantic rivalry there. And, you just talked about, 14-6 score and then a 1-0. I'm going to ask you, what type of baseball game do you prefer? Do you like one where you got, 6, 7, 8 get runs per team, or do you like a pitching duel, 1-0, 2-1? I'm just curious what your preference is.
I consider myself a baseball fan, so I can, at both ends of that spectrum, I absolutely love a solid pitcher's duel where a pitcher's trying to pitch a complete game, just painting the corners, making guys miss, good defensive plays. I respect and love that. But at the same time, I feel like offensive production is undefeated.
Same here.
And whenever you see guys smacking the baseball, first of all, when it's your team, you love it. But I honestly, I feel more stressed in a game that's 12-10, 12-11, just a lot of run production because you feel like your pitchers just can't do their job that day. So I like a pitcher's duel more in a close game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm a little bit opposite. I'm more of a, give me the offense. I like ball being put in play. I like to see guys being aggressive on the bases. That's my preference. But, I mean, obviously, anyone that appreciates baseball loves a good pitcher's duel from time to time. I just don't want to see it each and every night. I like to see the ball going over the fence and guys hitting for doubles and triples and whatnot. And, because you're going to have your defensive plays even in those games as well.
Yeah, that's what I loved about being a Braves fan in the 90s. You'd have Greg Maddux one night who was just absolutely popping guys up, making them miss, just pitching like a genius. And then the next night you got John Smoltz out there going right at him. And sometimes it worked out really good for Smoltz. Sometimes he'd get lit up. But, when you've got 3 Hall of Famers, him and Tom Glavine and Greg Maddux, John Smoltz, the styles of pitching for the Braves during that time, and you even factor in Steve Avery. Like, it was so unique.
So they hyped him up, but he never lived up to the hype like the other 3 did.
Well, he dropped off after his injury,
Yeah.
and that was unfortunate. And so Steve Avery is a guy who I think could have been just as good as those guys had he had been able to stay healthy.
Yeah.
So I like a variation. To answer your question, I like a good pitcher's duel, but also I like the long ball as well. That's a lot of fun.
But definitely, it was a pitcher's duel, the 1-0 final with Bradley coming out on top for sure.
Yeah. So again, Bradley will be moving on to face Cleveland for the region championship in Game 1 on Sunday. So the way that's going to work is whoever wins that game, clear-cut region champ, they get to take the trophy and go home. The region tournament's over for them. Whoever loses that region championship game, this is where it's not necessarily a true finals game. Whoever loses that region championship game will then have to play again in Game 3. So they'll have to wait for Game 2, which are the losers of the first round, which is Walker Valley and Ooltewah.
Right.
Those two will play. Then they'll play for a true second in Game 3 against Bradley. So the winner of Ooltewah, Walker Valley will then face Bradley. So Bradley or Cleveland.
Or Cleveland,
yes,
yeah.
Bradley or Cleveland.
Whoever wins that.
I've got the seeds on here, so the region champs and stuff. So just factoring in that way who could possibly be there. So if Cleveland loses, it'll be Cleveland in Game 3 against the winner of Walker Valley or Ooltewah. So it's kind of complicated. It's a lot easier. Jacob said this yesterday on the show. It's a lot easier to look at the bracket and explain it than try to verbally explain it to our listeners.
Exactly.
But yeah, so it's all 3 of our teams here locally have had a great baseball season. And Bradley today, with Tyler Cook on the mound, young man was untouchable. So
and it's a tough. Boy, you talk about a heartbreaking loss, though.
And Titus Torbett, one run.
I mean, you give up one run, you think, hey, I'll take that every time. But then unfortunately, the opposing pitcher was just a smidge better, maybe a little bit lucky. Who knows? We didn't get to see the game. I'm sure there was I'm sure there was a few defensive great plays out there for either team, But, yeah, that's a heartbreaking loss.
Yeah, and I believe that one run came early in the game. I don't have the box score in front of me, but it does say here that Bradley scored early. So for the rest of the game, it was one of those pitchers' duels.
Yeah.
Yep. So Bradley and Cleveland both alive for that region championship that will take place Sunday at noon. That's game 1 over at Bill Talley Stadium on the campus of Cleveland High School. And then Ooltewah and Walker Valley will be playing in game 2 on Sunday at 3:30. The loser of that game, season is over. The winner will advance to play either Bradley or Cleveland for the region runner-up game.
Right.
So a lot going on in high school baseball. And then going over to high school softball, Walker Valley defeated Cleveland 5-2 Tuesday night to claim the District 5 4A championship. So the next game for the Feisty Phillies will be Monday versus Ooltewah at 5:30 at Walker Valley High School. And then the Cleveland Lady Raiders will play on the road at East Hamilton. East Hamilton winning that district. And that game will also be Monday at 6 p.m. So Cleveland Lady Raiders and the Walker Valley Feisty Phillies, as they refer to themselves.
I love it.
They are going to be alive and playing on Monday. So a lot going on the diamond for both the softball teams here locally and baseball teams. And high school soccer, this was another big deal today. This game was at noon. The crowd at Walker Valley High School was huge for the matchup between Cleveland and Walker Valley soccer. And the Blue Raiders defeated the Mustangs 2-1. And that was a very fun finish, as I believe it was tied up until I think that the last goal for Cleveland came with under 2 minutes left.
Oh, wow.
So it came down to the wire.
Heartbreaker for Walker Valley.
Yes,
then.
yes.
Man.
So that was definitely the big news out of the soccer world today. Cleveland taking that game 2-1 at Walker Valley. And then going over, just a quick recap, we talked a lot about this yesterday. Walker Valley girls flag football had a huge first day at the state tournament on Wednesday. They went 3-0 and improved their record on the season to 17-0. Yesterday, they started bracket play. The Mustangs defeated Creekwood 19-18 with an intercepted Creekwood extra point to win that game. Then in the state quarterfinal game, Walker Valley beat Liberty Creek in overtime 13-12. Talk about some high-stress games.
Oh, absolutely.
All this while they're trying to figure out, are we going to get home for our graduation in time?
In year 1,
yeah,
exactly.
And then, unfortunately for the Lady Mustangs in the state semifinals, they lost to the eventual state champs, Ravenwood, in a heartbreaker 14-13.
And Ravenwood is a really good all-around athletics high school, so no shame in losing to that team.
Yeah, losing by 1 point. Ravenwood went on to beat Stone Memorial in the state finals by a score of 34-14. So just an unfortunate draw, it sounds like, for the Lady Mustangs, who easily could have been state runners-up to Ravenwood, who they lost to. Easily could have been champs, lost to them by a point.
Well, it's very similar to the Bradley Barretts and the basketball tournament, where the semifinal matchup was probably the 2 best teams in the state. That happens from time to time.
Sure does. So that is high school sports here locally. Hey, we got it's 5:13. We did pretty good.
Yeah, we did.
Getting all that in.
And like you said, you got spring fling coming on, and it's all about getting a high school state championship if possible. So, you got to get through all these regions to advance to the spring fling. And obviously, we're hoping that all of the teams here all the local teams do well, and they can advance and make some noise there at the spring fling. So excited for baseball, softball, soccer, everything.
Hey, Mayfield Ice Cream, when it comes to Mayfield Dairy Ice Cream, you'll never have a boring bite. Their limited edition ice creams include cherry chocolate chip and banana pudding. They're inspired by traditional Southern recipes and seasonal favorites. Pick some up today at your local grocery store. And of course, you can visit them online at mayfielddairy.com. And Mayfield, proud supporters of The Drive and our Atlanta Braves coverage here on The Drive. So we've got to talk about the series finale.
Do we have to?
Listen, Jim, as you know, is a big Cincinnati Reds guy who listen, I presume when the Reds aren't playing the Braves, you're pulling for the Braves most of the time, right?
Like I said, I was born in Cincinnati, and I used to actually work for the Cincinnati Reds. So, but no, the Reds have an issue. They've got really good pitching. They really do have good pitching. But man, that offense sometimes it's just non-existent. I mean, for crying out loud, Game 1, the Reds had one hit, and that didn't happen until the 8th inning. And so they did lose Game 1 and 2. They did get the win in Game 3. Then last night, the game goes to extra innings after Cincinnati hit a 2-run homer in the 9th to take a 4-2 lead. And then the Reds couldn't, Ashcraft did not have it. The Braves tied it up, and, of course, then they win it in the 11th.
Yeah, so the Braves beat the Cincinnati Reds last night by a score of 5-4 in 11 innings to take the series 3-1, as Jim alluded to. And, you look at the Atlanta Braves offense, and it kind of has been stagnant over the past few games. Unfortunately, so has the Cincinnati Reds. If you're a Braves fan, of course, that's, when you're not hitting the ball, it works out a lot better when the other team's not hitting it either.
That's true.
And so just to give a quick scoring breakdown, Matt Olson got the scoring started for Atlanta in the first, and he had a sac fly to score Austin Riley and made the game 1-0. The Reds didn't respond until the 5th inning, and Jose Trevino doubled, scoring Spencer Steer, tying the game. 5th inning, Money Mike, Michael Harris. This is a guy who a lot of people have been talking about him struggling. Had a great game yesterday. I believe he finished with 3 hits on the night. He had a hard hit ground ball in the 5th to score Eli White to give the Braves the lead again. And then top of the 7th, Cincinnati responds, ties the game at 2. 9th inning. This is where it gets interesting. So you're getting toward the end of the game, and it's a tie game 2-2, and you're thinking, oh, Rossiel Iglesias is going to come in and get us to extras
on his bobblehead night.
Yes, can you? And so the Reds get to Rossiel Iglesias. Reese Hines hits a 2-run home run, and that's his first homer of the year off Rossiel Iglesias, the closer for the Braves.
He was called up when the gentleman broke his arm on. Was it Tuesday night? So he was called up from Louisville. He comes in, he produces.
Shows up and hits a home run. Nothing wrong with that. But that gave the Reds a 4-2 lead. And as a Braves fan, I'm sitting there, I'm watching the game live, and I feel like, well, there it went. That's the game. Not so fast, my friend, as Lee Corso would say, our favorite guy from College Game Day. Eli White, and talking about a young guy that's been doing some work for the Atlanta Braves, has a sacrifice bunt that scores Ozzie Albies from third and gets it to a 4-3 game. Reds still leading. And then Money Mike showing up again, ties the game 4-4 on an RBI single to left field, scoring Eddie Rosario, who coincidentally after the game, a little bit later on, I guess this morning, was designated for assignment. So no longer an Atlanta Brave. And Michael Harris advanced to third on a throwing error by Gavin Lux on that same play. So it got kind of chaotic there in the 9th inning on both sides. I believe, was it the 10th inning? Yeah, Verdugo got thrown out at home plate. Very close play.
Very close play, yeah.
And that was huge for Cincinnati. But it was a very hard hit ball from Stuart Fairchild past the pitcher and the second baseman who fielded it and was able to throw it in and get the out there. Yeah. But you just talk about the chaos of the game and how everything was going. There was a play at second base where Drake Baldwin throws down to Dunn, and the second threw down at second, and it was really a game-changing play because he threw out the Reds' base runner, and ultimately Terry Francona got thrown out because he had to come out.
Well, it is what it is. I mean, Terry Francona. I mean, listen, the umpires, they weren't going to overturn that call.
Yeah.
They just weren't. So, I mean, the first base coach gets thrown out. Francona gets thrown out. So it is what it is. But the Reds should not have been in that situation to begin with. That's what the game should have been over in 9 innings.
You're absolutely right. But the throw from Drake Baldwin, phenomenal throw, and it was one of those replays that as I was watching it, I was thinking, I could see them saying maybe he got in there, but that close of a call, typically they stick with the call on the field.
Yep.
And they even showed the umpire taking his time to make the call to see if he came off the bag, and then he made it. So a lot of times when an umpire does that, when they go to New York for the replay, for the review, they don't really want to make that umpire look bad.
Absolutely.
That's a trend that I've noticed. Well, Drake Baldwin, after making that good throw in the 11th inning, walks it off with a hard hit ground ball to left field, scoring Ozzie Albies, and was able to celebrate with a bubblegum bucket on his head from Money Mike. So that was how things went. Spencer Schwellenbach threw 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, and 2 walks with 6 strikeouts. Dylan Lee, Pierce Johnson, great in relief for the Braves last night. Did a solid job. Who didn't? Raciel Iglesias. And it's got me as a Braves fan worried about the 9th inning.
And you better be nervous because he's not getting it done. And it doesn't look like anything's going to change. He's giving up the long ball way, way too often. And if I'm an Atlanta Braves fan, and we've been talking about this for a month and a half, the Braves have got to make some kind of a move prior to the trade deadline to get a solid closer, a guy that you feel like is lights out more often than not. That's not Raciel Iglesias these days. At one time it was.
Yeah.
It's just not in 2025.
Yeah, and we were talking about this. You and I must have the same sources that we look at stats and things because Iglesias, who has allowed 5 home runs in 14 innings this year, that's 1 more home run than he allowed the entire season last year.
Last time I heard, that's not good.
Not at all.
Yeah, so that's very concerning. So the Braves have got to do something to get a bona fide lockdown closer to pitch that 9th inning, to shut down whomever is coming up, whatever team you're facing. And they don't have that guy right now.
I don't disagree with that. But this is where, as a Braves fan and a huge fan of this guy, this is the overly optimistic side of me. Just because I've seen the body of work up to this point this season, I know he struggled a little bit in Baltimore and in Chicago, but Craig Kimbrell is a guy who you've got in your system right now. And I believe he's got 10 strikeouts in 8 innings pitched this year and has only allowed like 2 hits. They say his fastball velocity is up from 91 last year to 95 this year. I think the extended offseason specifically, did him well. He's a little bit older. He doesn't bounce back from a season like he used to. I think that's a guy that's used to that high leverage situation that you give him a shot, and I would absolutely love to see him come in and get the job.
I definitely think you give him a shot, but like my feeling about that is that getting guys out in AAA is one thing, getting guys out in the big leagues is another.
No doubt.
So we'll see. He may have found a fountain of youth for a while, for a little bit of time. I do think that they need to do something different.
Hey,
than what they're currently doing.
Ask Uncle Jesse Chavez. Putting on that tomahawk makes you play a little bit different sometimes.
I don't know about that.
Kimbrell might be one of those guys.
We'll see. I think they're going to pull him up at some point and let him prove that he either deserves to be there or prove that it wasn't a fluke that he was getting rocked last year.
Yeah.
But you said 4 miles an hour more on your fastball than he was last year.
It's a game changer.
That's definitely a big time. So we shall see if that does come to fruition.
Yeah, tonight the Braves, who are now 18 and 19, trying to get back to 500, they hit the road for a 3-game series. Not even back. Let me correct myself. Not back to 500. They've not been to 500 this year. It's been eluding them pretty well. But 18 and 19, currently 3rd in the National League East, 5.5 games back of first place, New York. Bravo's hitting the road tonight for a short 3-game series in Pittsburgh against the Pirates, who are 12 and 26 and last in the National League Central currently.
They just replaced their manager, and the Braves are going to miss Skeens. Okay, so they're going to miss him, so they've got a real shot to.
Which might not be a bad thing. He struggled this year too.
He has, but still, the Pirates are. They're just horrible.
Yeah, they are. Between them and Colorado, it's kind of a battle of who the worst team in Major League Baseball is right now.
The best thing going on with the Pirates is they play maybe, and to me, my favorite Major League ballpark, PNC Park there in Pittsburgh. I love that place. Man.
I love seeing the balls flying to the Allegheny.
It's great, man. That is a great
beautiful
ballpark.
Scenery.
It is. So at least the Pirates have got, to me, the best ballpark in Major League Baseball. But boy, the team they put out there. Not doing too well, man.
It's not the 1970s, is it?
No, it's not. Yeah, the
It's
lumber company, the Willie Sturgill and Dave Parker are not coming. Not on the on deck circle.
Yeah, the We Are Family Pirates. They're a misplaced family
no
currently.
Barry Bonds or Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah, no doubt. A first pitch of that game between the Braves and Pirates tonight at 6:40, a little bit earlier start time. 6:40 first pitch. Bryce Elder on the mound. He's 2-1 on the season with a 5.06 ERA. Taking on Bailey Falter. I hope he falters tonight for the Pirates, who's 1-3 with a 5.06 ERA as well. And you'll be able to listen to that game on Mix 104.1. It will not be on ESPN Cleveland tonight because we're going to have some NBA playoff basketball game here. But again, the game is going to be on Mix 104.1 Braves Pirates, presented by Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland. So, hey, with that, it's 5:25. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Gary Ownby, the voice of the Bears and Barretts, joins the drive to talk about the upcoming Scott Family Basketball Camp. We'll be right back here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
Hardees is hiring. Join the Star Team. Flexible scheduling, daily pay, free meals, 20% family discount, plus paid vacation for part-time and full-time employees. Apply in-store or online at hardees.com today.
Got an injury that just can't wait? There's no need to delay your care. Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics is excited to announce that our Urgent Ortho Walk-In Clinic is now available on Saturdays at the Gun Barrel Road location. Open from 8 to noon, we're here to treat sprains, strains, fractures, and more. No appointment needed. So skip the long ER wait and get specialized orthopedic care fast. Visit us this Saturday at Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics Urgent Ortho. We're the center for expert care right when you need it. Learn more at sportmed.com.
Listen to the Alon Exchange, hosted by financial professionals Jay and Brittany Hagee, owners of Alon Planning Partners. Each week they discuss all things financial and answer your questions about investing, preparing for retirement, paying down debt, and more. The Alon Exchange, Saturdays at 7 a.m. on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Don't miss the Paul Feinbaum Show, weekday afternoons from 2 until 5 on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Always topical, always entertaining. Paul Feinbaum on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, presented by Hardees.
Come to Don Ledford Chevrolet and save the whole month of May as they commemorate Memorial Day with tremendous savings the entire month. You'll get tremendous discounts and factory rebates on their entire inventory of Chevrolet pickups and SUVs. Buy stock number 250622. A 2025 Chevrolet Trailblazer Active SUV model with MSRP of $3,570 for just $27,998. That's over $2,500 in savings. Or take home stock number 250696. A 2025 Silverado 1500 LT 4x4 Crew Cab with the Z71 package. MSRP $66,110 for just $55,469. That's $10,641 in savings. That's a trucking price you don't want to miss. And hey, they have special leasing options available as well. Don Ledford Chevrolet, Northley Highway, Cleveland, donledford.com. Visit there for details and a trade assistance coupon. Don Ledford Chevrolet, where they say yes. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Trailblazer stock 250622 MSRP. The courtesy transportation vehicle. Sale prices include qualifying rebates and or plus tax, tag, and title and dealer fee of $649. Must take delivery by June 2nd, 2025.
ESPN Cleveland 101.3 is powered by Duracell.
Do you suffer from unsightly leg veins? Are your legs turning brown or swelling? Do your legs feel heavy, tired, or achy? Do you have restless legs or leg cramps disturbing your sleep? These symptoms are signs of bad veins. Dr. James Gooden at Milligan Vein offers an office treatment that can make you look and feel better, and your procedure is covered by most insurance. Find more information online at milliganvein.com or call Dr. Gooden today at 423-961-5682 and get rid of those bad veins.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
Welcome back to The Drive. Excited to be joined now by Gary Ownby, the voice of the Bears and Bearettes, who here in moments is going to be doing an interview with the Scott family to talk about the Scott family basketball camp that's coming up here really soon. And, of course, we're streaming here once again on mixtv.tv, on YouTube, and on Facebook, as well as on ESPN Cleveland 1013. So glad to have all of our listeners with us today. Gary, first of all, how's it going, man? Good to see you.
Hey, it's going great. You know, we're getting close to the end of the school year, and as always, graduation going on last night, tonight, and tomorrow morning now or Saturday morning. Yeah, it's tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Or Bradley moved it to 10 o'clock because of the anticipation it could rain. Who knows? But and also you're getting into the spring sports, and things are beginning to wrap up and progress. We're in the postseason for a lot of different things. So it's a fun time of year.
It sure is. Definitely a lot going on. Once again, breaking news. Bradley defeats Walker Valley in the region tournament 1-0 in a complete pitcher's duel between Tyler Cook and Titus Torbett. The Bears will move on to face Cleveland in the region championship game. So big news coming in. Real quick, I believe we've got our callers in from the Scott family. And Gary, it's all you.
All right. Are you there, guys?
Yeah, I'm here, Gary. This is Alvin.
Hey, Alvin. Well, let me ask you first. I always like to ask you, how hot is it in Phoenix?
Well, Gary, I'll tell you what, today it's supposed to be triple digits. So, I had talked to somebody in Cleveland, and they told me how great the weather was there. And I said, just rub it in, please. Just rub it in. Because it's 100+ out here today.
Yeah, it's very nice here right now. That time of year when you're sort of transitioning between the cool weather, and we just had blackberry winter last week, I believe, but getting ready for it's been raining a lot, so you know what's going to happen. It's going to dry off and quit raining for the next couple of months and get really, really hot probably. But anyway, we're not here to talk about the weather, but I always like to give you a hard time about that. But Alvin, for the folks that don't know, we're here to talk about your camp, but before we do, I'd like to give you a little bit of background to some of our listeners that may not know the Scott family. Terry, your oldest brother, the old man of the group, out of the four siblings,
yes,
was the first African-American athlete at Bradley Central, played for Bill Walker in basketball there, and had a great career there at Bradley. Went on to Middle Tennessee, played for Ken Trickey, who then moved to Oral Roberts, Terry with him. And Terry hung around out there still in Muskogee and doing his thing. I think he's in 5 different halls of fame out there in Oklahoma. Here at Bradley's in one, our basketball hall of fame here. And then Levi came the next day, and he also played basketball here. And then the older sister, the only female of the group, Gloria, was a 2-time All-Stater, played on Smitty's second state championship team in 1970, and went on to Knoxville, and she's given back to the community up there. She served on the Knox County School Board for many, many years. And Alvin, of course, was a fireman, or Levi was a fireman, for many years, just retired not long ago. And then Alvin came along, the baby of the group, and obviously we all know what he did. He won the very first Bradley Central Basketball Hall of Fame with Dennis Botch, Chad Copeland, and Steve Sloan. That's a pretty good 4-man crew to go in there, the initial thing there. And Alvin, of course, went on to play at Oral Roberts with Ken Trickey out there. And then for 6 years, I guess it was, with the Phoenix Suns, and win the playoffs every single year. And by the way, before we get into your camp, who's going to win the playoffs this year? Who are you picking out, Alvin?
Man, Gary, I wouldn't want to put a bet on anybody because the teams that I felt that were going to, like Cleveland and Boston, I thought they would end up in the Eastern Conference Finals, and I figured Denver and, they ended up playing each other. OKC ended up playing each other, so I figured Oklahoma had the best record, and then there was Denver. But like I said, Boston is 2 down to the Knicks, and I think they're going to New York now.
Yep.
And Cleveland is 2 down and going to Indiana. So I'm like, well, probably a lot of people what's that betting game now or whatever that is? Like they probably scratching the head and going crazy right about now because it's not going according to script right now.
Well, a fool and his money are soon parted, they say, when it comes to betting on sports. Because any football, basketball, baseball, and any of the sports are just so emotional and so upset prone, especially when you get the postseason because somebody gets hot and it's lights out real quick, like for the favored team a lot of times. But
Well, just like in college, whatever team gets hot in that March Madness,
Right.
and they end up going all the way. So you can't really pick because you have so many great athletes nowadays, and they start so young that any given I tell people any given day or any given night, any team can beat any team. So. It's a lot of basketball on right now. So
Yeah.
it's still not going according to what I thought it was going to go.
Well, you probably know more about basketball than anybody in our building here today. But let's talk about your camp there, Alvin. Going back several years ago, one of you guys, between you and Terry and the family, came up with the idea of using the foundation to provide this camp because, as we mentioned, you and all the guys were very, very blessed in this community and lived and prospered here and then moved on to bigger and better things. And you're scattered all over. Levi's Chattanooga, he's the closest one by. Gloria's in Knoxville. Alvin's out, you're in Phoenix, and Terry's in Oklahoma. And but you felt like, you had the calling to give back to the community. And sort of walk us through your thoughts, train of thoughts there, and we'll talk about the dates here in just a moment, how people can register for this camp, which is absolutely 100% free, unlike most any other camp I know of in this area. But walk us through that mindset you guys had when you put this thing together several years ago now.
Well, Gary, we like you said, we had such a success outside of the community that we were raised, and me and Terry got together, and I had a foundation that I can do any sports, and me and Terry, I was thinking about just kind of giving it over to somebody else, and Terry said, "Hey, wait just a minute. I feel like we could do a camp in our hometown, which in turn they have done so much for us, and this way we could give back to the community. And not only you got to figure out what's different between our camp and any other camp. So we had to come up with we came up with an idea, life education through sport. Give them life skills. Talk about life. Talk about other things. Just because you play basketball, you don't play basketball, you're not successful. You got to learn lawyers, attorneys, doctors. I can go on and on and on. You ain't got to be one of those. You can be, working for the city. Because I worked construction myself before, after my career, and I put in 29 years for the gas company. So just because you don't play basketball don't mean you're not successful. So me and Terry come up with an idea, come in and give it back to our community. And Terry had a great idea. Let's do it free.
Right.
I don't think, like you said, I don't think anybody else has ever talked about giving a free camp, to the kids. So if it wasn't for the community and business leaders all throughout the country donating to our foundation, that's pretty much the only way we can do it is through donations and sponsorship and in-kind and things like that. And we right now we're still looking for donations because we want to continue this great thing that we have started, and we want to continue. So if anybody's out there want to donate, you'll tell them later about the website. But that's how it got started. And when Terry mentioned that one day, he was on the radio and just kind of mentioned that we were going to come back and do a camp. And I looked at him, I kind of side-eyed looked at him, and I said, "Really? Have we talked about this?" But matter of fact, I think he was on the radio with you, and it just took off. It just took off, and I can't thank the community enough of Bradley County supporting the Scott Family Basketball Camp for all these years, because it started in 2017. Here it is 2025, so it's still continuing and it's still building, and we still want to improve on what we've done. Every year we want to make it better and stronger.
Well, I've been with you since the start, and I've enjoyed it and been honored to be a part of that. And it's gotten bigger and better every year. And like you mentioned, it's through the outpouring of goodwill and donations and things for the community. And it's what's impressive to me. It's not just a camp about basketball skills, but life education through sports, LETS. At letscamps.com. You have speakers every morning that talk about kids making the right decision. We have legal, law enforcement folks. We have drug people coming in. We have nutritionists coming in talking each morning, not for a long time, just at the start of when everybody's getting signed up and registered and getting their armbands and things like that. And then we break them out into groups of age group based on skill level, 8 to 15 years old, boys and girls now. But a lot of the families in this area, you know, we're not a rich community, but we have a lot of folks who would not be able to afford to send a kid or multiple kids to a camp if they had to pay. Because around here, I don't know of anybody else doing a free camp, and you end up paying 60, 70, 80 bucks a piece, maybe more, to go to a camp and have a good time. And I'm not putting those guys down at all. I would not ever do that. But this offers communities that if you've got 2 or 3 kids or 4 kids, you know, that's probably pretty a lot of money coming out of the pocket there, you know, just straight out of the pocket. And these kids get to go and have a great time for 4 days. They get given a free lunch every day and hear these speakers, and we have them broken out. And I tell you, they have a blast. Either the big guys down the floor and the smaller kids upstairs. We sort of keep them separated from the bigger guys. And the Barretts and the Bears come back and help out in a lot of ways. The coaches come back and help out during that time frame. And it's just a lot of fun. And another thing is a lot of those old timers, there's a lot of us old timers now, we're getting fewer every day though, that come back that you guys knew or played with or coached with or whatever, that come back each year. And they come out of state. We had them come from California, had them come from Oklahoma, coming in on their own dime each year to help out with that. And it's great to see that kind of reaction, which means those guys love you like the community does, and you love the community back. And it's just a fun time, and it is all free, and we ask everyone to please get signed up at letscamps.com. They can go to the website, and it asks you know the general information, name and size of shirt you would get, because we will always give them a free shirt at the end of the final day. We take camp pictures and things like that. And also it gives them a chance to contribute, because it does take money. And you typically, I've not even asked you this, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but typically every year you've had some kind of really nice giveaway, most every day from the pro teams and from the college teams that kids are not going to see just anywhere. Stuff they can't even get their hands on around here, you know. But it's fun.
Well, is Terry online today? Is he here today?
Well, I don't know. He's probably taking a nap right now. It's late in the afternoon in Oklahoma for him, you know. He is very old and all. And
well, yeah.
I hope he's listening.
Well, I do want to say this. I am looking forward to my brother coming back. We missed him last year.
Yeah, he was under the weather.
Because of his health, and he was unable to run. He pretty much runs the camp daily, because he's been a coach over 40 years. So he wasn't here, and me and Sam McCain, who come from California, and Eugene Harris, the kids upstairs from Florida.
Yep.
We tried to fill the void, but that's a void we would never ever fill. But we missed him last year. We missed his excitement. We missed his coaching experience, and we're looking forward to for him attending this year, because he was sad. I'm telling you, I'm gonna be honest with you. He cried last year about not being able to come to the camp and see the kids, and you know, and being part of that, because of that he is a big part of the camp.
Yes, sir.
You know, because I just want to say we missed him. We're looking forward to him coming back. We love him, and he's in good health right now.
Well, I talked to him just a day or two ago, and he said that he was coming with grandkids and kids and his whole family, more than he's probably ever brought here for one of these camps. And I know you're here with your family, and Levi's here with him. His wife's always here, and she lines up a lot of these great speakers and helps with the donations, things like it. It takes a lot of people to pull this thing off to make it successful. And it's been successful every time. And the thing about this, too, we got to remind folks, we do have to cap the sign-up at about 100 or so, maybe a few more than 100. But once it's full, it's full. We can't wait to, for the last-minute sign-ups, because we got to order shirts and arrange meals and things like that. So you need to get on the horn right now and get on the website and sign up at letscamps.com.
Yeah, Gary, I just want to say this right now. We are over halfway right now.
Okay.
We are over halfway right now, and I'm just not pleading, but I want everybody, if you want your kids from 8 to 15, boys and girls, they don't have to have really, really experienced. We just want them to have fun. 8 to 15, boys and girls, please sign up as soon as possible, because we just hate to turn the kids away when they really want to attend the Scott Family Basketball Camp.
Well, we're a little over 2 months away. Today's May the 9th, and this will start July the 22nd. I don't think we mentioned the dates, but July the 22nd that's a Tuesday through July the 25th on a Friday. We'll run from 9 to 12 noon each day, and they'll come in about 8 or so and register, sign in, get their arm badge, which is separates them by age group and things like that, and begin the process of making this happen. And also, we have a fun time the Monday night before that at the Holiday Inn Express. We usually meet there and have a meet and greet. So all the folks who want to come out and meet you guys and just and have some camaraderie and join in the fun are welcome to come on out and meet all the Scott family. And I'm sure Gloria's going to have another Lady Vol come down and speak to us again this year. She does every year. And
does every year. So I want to give Shane Ripcheck a shout out because they supply the food for the meet and greet.
Yep.
That particular night, but if I go through all of our donors and stuff like that, I'm afraid I'm gonna leave somebody out. But I just want to give a shout out to Shane Ripcheck, and everybody loves that night. And I tell you what, they really love the peach cobbler.
I was about to say. He got the best piece of cobbler I've ever put in my mouth. So they don't have that. We'll get a new supplier next year if they don't bring that back again. You know. No, I'm just kidding. They are really, really great, and it works out super for us all. But yes. So I'm sorry, Terry wasn't able to come on. I talked to him earlier. He was looking forward to it, so I remember to call him and see what happened. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Could be a technical difficulty. Our phone systems have been giving us some grief today here, so
right.
He can make up for it later on because he likes to run that mouth anyway. So I hope he's listening to this here.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. So I hope I did the Scott family proud.
You did.
But coming on today, and we're looking forward to. I'm looking forward, especially. And I talked to my brothers, Gloria, yesterday. She got a brand new baby, a grandbaby right now, granddaughter. She's in Atlanta, and Levi's somewhere. Levi's always somewhere. And then Terry, we all looking forward to coming home. This is our not only we do the camp, but it's our family reunion. So
right, and we'll remind the folks again. The dates are Tuesday, July the 22nd through Friday, July the 25th, from 9 to 12, and it will be at Bradley Central. By the way, it's always at Bradley Central where you guys played ball.
Yes.
Actually, you played for the old school, but it's at the new Bradley, the Jim Smitty Arena there. But it's all totally free. Got to keep reminding people it is free. There'll be a lot of camps around. Yeah. They're already advertising camps going on right now, but go to Let's Camps, LETS, which means Life Education Through Sports, letscamps.com to sign up and come out and see us. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it, Gary. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir, Alvin. Thanks for calling in. We always appreciate your time, and brother, love you, and look forward to seeing you come July.
Okay, love you too, Gary.
See you now.
You have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Hey, Gary, I'll tell you what. We're going to get it figured out. We'll have you back on with us again, and hopefully we can get the whole Scott family on with us.
All right.
And we'll give you another platform to talk with them and talk about the camp a little bit more. What a great thing that the Scott family is doing for our local youth. Once again, ages 8 to 15, the Scott family basketball camp taking place July 22nd to July 25th. Free, and they provide lunch.
Yep.
They give them T-shirts. They've got prizes for them. What a great opportunity for the youth, future ballers here in Bradley County.
Yeah, and it's open. It's not just Bradley Central kids. We have kids from all over the area, and even out of the county that come in here. That their folks work here. Hey, drop the kid off here, let them play ball, and take care of that. But again, thanks for having us on the air. Let's talk about that, and we'll get back together. We'll get Terry. Once he figures out technology, and he's still on that rotary dial phone, but he'll figure it out. There you go.
Listen, you guys are welcome anytime, and really glad you're able to come in and talk about the Scott family basketball camp with us. And we'll have you back on too to talk some football coming up. It's sneaking up on us, as they're going through spring practice right now.
Sure is.
So real quick, you've been listening to The Drive. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to dive into some national stories and recap some local things as well. But sounds like Coach Belichick's got some issues going on out there in Chapel Hill that we're going to talk about here in just a second.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
Some mornings call for a little extra comfort. Introducing Hardee's new home-style breakfast burritos with cheese, fluffy egg, crispy hash browns, breakfast sausage, bacon, and sliced ham in a warm tortilla served with a side of Texas Pete hot sauce. Home-style breakfast burritos, only at Hardee's. Goodness in the making. My Rewards members get a free blueberry biscuit or sausage biscuit when you order on the app. Limited time only. Exclusions may apply by time of day. See app for terms.
We tend not to think about right now, but right now in front of us is victory over cancer. Right now, cancer research funded by the V Foundation is leading to better treatments and saving lives. When you give to the V Foundation, 100% of your donation goes directly to game-changing cancer research. Victory over cancer is there for the taking by you. Donate at v.org, because today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
For a quarter of a century, Mix 1041 has been taking you out to the ball game.
Swanson to first. The Braves are world champions.
Since 2000, Mix 1041 has been the home of the Atlanta Braves, and we're celebrating by giving away tickets to Atlanta Braves games all summer long. Listen for your chance to call or text to qualify. You can also register at the Mix socials on Facebook and Instagram. Braves 25 is presented by Cleveland Ford. Honest people, honest deals.
Cleveland Tire Center for over 45 years with the best name in tires: Bridgestone, Firestone, Goodyear, and Michelin. Northley Highway, Cleveland. Cleveland Tire Center, where the name says it all.
Have you seen what happens when a weed eater gets too close to vinyl siding? Ouch! Choose steel siding from Best Buy Metals, available in board and batten and lap siding options. Permanent siding from Best Buy Metals is custom manufactured to the half-inch for a perfect fit. Stop by a showroom or go to bestbuymetalroof.com to learn how you can protect your structure.
Do your legs feel heavy, tired, or achy? Dr. James Gooden at Milligan Vein offers an office treatment that can make you look and feel better, and your procedure is covered by most insurance. Visit milliganvein.com or call Dr. Gooden today at 423-961-5682.
Do you and your spouse always agree when it comes to financial decisions? If you're like me and my husband, or most couples, you might have a difference of opinion quite often.
And that's why we offer financial counseling for couples. You can reach out to us 423-315-1441 or at allonplanning.com, ALLON planning.com, and claim your consultation with us today.
Investment advisory services offered through Foundations Investment Advisors, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
Listening to The Drive here on ESPN in Cleveland. I hope everyone is out there having a good Friday. Appreciate Gary Owenby coming out and talking with Alvin Scott about the Scott family basketball camp. So we really encourage you guys out there to sign up, get your kids signed up. That is from July 22nd through the 25th. 3 hours each day. That's 12 total hours that you can do this. Hey, in the meantime, Duracell in Cleveland is now hiring mechanical skilled technicians from $22.17 to $27 per hour. Excellent benefits beginning on day number one: medical, dental, and vision insurance, paid vacation, holiday pay, 401k, tuition reimbursement, and more. Apply now at Duracell.com. That's Duracell.com. And man, I tell you what, this week has flown by, but man, we got a lot of stuff still yet to talk about. We only got about 7 or 8 minutes to get it done, man. We got to talk quick, don't we?
Yeah, there's been a lot happening this week, especially in local high school sports, but I do want to jump to the national scene a little bit because I know you and I have a lot of fun covering these subjects, and I hope our listeners enjoy listening to us run our mouths about our opinions on this stuff. But finally, the New York Giants first-round draft pick Abdul Carter finally chooses a number, and he's going to rock number 51 up there for the New York Giants.
Well, listen, he couldn't wear number 11. That's Phil Simms. Couldn't wear 56. That's Lawrence Taylor. You kind of split the difference. He got the 5 of 56, and he got the 1 from 11. So 51's a good number for him.
Again, if I'm the Giants, I'm like, hey, can we try to pick one that's not in the Ring of Honor? Let's look up there and go ahead and factor those numbers out of the equation. So
I don't know if you know this, but there are some teams that don't retire numbers. They'll put them like in the Ring of Honor, but the number is out there
still
forever.
Active.
And like, I mean, for crying out loud, like the New York Yankees, you can't wear a single digit for the New York Yankees. Literally from 1 to 9, they're all retired. But some sports teams retire numbers, some don't. So it is what it is.
That's one thing that I like about, speaking of the Scott family, local basketball, how about the Hanna family at Bradley?
Yeah.
The Rita Hanna, Liz Hanna, Brittany Jackson. That number 25 at Bradley was, retired a few times and brought back out for their family members. But that's one thing. Like I know my good friend Lindsay Jackson, Brittany's younger sister, wore number 25. And
it's a legacy number.
Yeah, I think that's cool being able to do that in like within your community. But when you're talking like big scale New York Yankee type stuff, I think there should be certain people that, hey, Hall of Famers, great career, retire the number, no one else is going to wear it. And then people that were just great within the organization, like to talk to our Braves fans, like, listen, I love Del Murphy. And his number's retired, and it deserves to be. He should be in the Hall of Fame. But there might be some guys that you honor, like Andrew Jones might not ever be a Hall of Famer, but he's got his name up on the Ring of Honor around Truist Park, and the 25's there. Maybe leave that an active number. I don't know. And I love Andrew Jones, and I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. But I think it might not be a bad idea for some of these organizations to leave some of these numbers active as they're starting to run out of numbers.
I agree. And there comes a point, listen, Andrew Jones, like you said, great example, number 25. Let's say the Braves, a few years down the road, make a trade for a great player who's playing somewhere else right now. Well, he wears number 25. And so now he comes to the Braves. Oh, I can't wear number 25 here. There comes a time where you might want to just keep that option open. I'm just saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway.
No, I agree. Hey, did you hear about Da Pope? Da Pope
from Chicago. By the way,
we had a lot of fun with that yesterday. By the way,
he's a White Sox fan over Cubs, which I think that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, he's a Bears and Bulls fan too.
Did you see the photo that surfaced to him at the 2005 World Series?
No.
White Sox versus Astros.
No, I did not.
There was a fan that took a picture. Listen, we're going back to 2005. So we didn't have these fancy iPhones. A fan turned his camera around and took a picture of himself at the World Series. And guess who's standing behind him? Pope Leo, the 14th.
That is hilarious.
Prior to being the Pope. So
I think it's cool we got an American Pope. And they said that would never happen. There would never be an American Pope. Well, here it is, 2025. Guess what, folks?
The Great American Movement, right?
There's an American Pope. So good for him. And by the way, he went to Villanova. So I don't know if that's good vibes for Villanova basketball coming up. We'll see.
Well, and come to find out, his dad was a retired United States Navy veteran who served in World War II. Yeah. So, like, you talk about something to be proud of as an American. Very neat. Even if you're not Catholic, that's such a cool thing. Jumping over to Chapel Hills, we previewed a little bit. There's been some drama with Coach Belichick's, 23-year-old, 24-year-old girlfriend.
Come on, man. No, she's not that young.
That age, that 1 year is a big deal in this scenario. Hey, the University of North Carolina issued a statement Friday saying that Bill Belichick's girlfriend is a welcome guest at the football facility after reports claim that she had been banned from the school. And, her name is Jordan Hudson. Mm-hmm. While Jordan Hudson is not an employee, this is a direct quote from the University of North Carolina. While Jordan Hudson is not an employee of the University of Carolina Athletics, she is welcome on the Carolina football facilities, the school said in a statement. Jordan will continue to manage all activities related to Coach Belichick's personal brand outside of his responsibilities for Carolina football and the university. First of all, I love the fact them in South Carolina get into just calling themselves Carolina.
Oh, they both do.
I love it. I love that they go back and forth with that.
I do too. Pablo Torres was the one that had first said that she was being banned from, and then the University of North Carolina had to come out with an official statement saying no, she's not banned. Blah blah blah. So yeah, whatever. Okay, it is what it is. But I just think, listen, I have a daughter that's older than she is. I cannot imagine my daughter. Of course, she just got married.
Dating Bill Belichick.
Dating a guy that's in his 70s. I mean, come on.
Money talks, man.
I guess.
Money
man.
talks. Speaking of
that
money,
would just freaked me out.
Hey, speaking of money talking, Mississippi State football is set to build a $60 million practice facility because they got to do something to keep up in the SEC.
You have to keep up with the Joneses. And listen, we all know the NIL money speaks, but facilities is huge. It's all about recruiting, man. And obviously the indoor facility allows you to practice regardless of the weather. But it's all about the new shiny things that you can show these recruits that sway them towards you. Listen, you know what Oregon does? They say, look at all of our uniforms. Of course, they got great facilities there too. Yeah. But that wows some recruits. Hey, whatever it takes to get a guy to sign with your school, whatever it takes.
Oregon might as well change their name from the University of Oregon to the University of Nike. They might as well. Yeah, they might as well do it. But Oregon, there's a reason they're recruiting well right now. There's a reason that they moved to the Big Ten and are earning some money now due to those TV deals and stuff.
For sure. They're doing a great job out there. So, listen, like I said, recruiting is always about wowing the recruits when they come on campus, and there's different ways to do it. Mississippi State had fallen behind football-wise, and this $60 million indoor facility will be something to, you'd be proud to be a Mississippi State Bulldog once this thing gets built.
Listen, the good news about today's drive show, we went into some extra innings ourselves here recently. We've done some overtime. The good news is no pregame show for Braves today, so we can go a little bit over to cover this stuff. But you will be able to catch the Atlanta Braves on Mix 104.1 tonight. The NBA playoffs will be here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, but 6:40 first pitch in that Braves-Pirates game. Braves on the road up in Pittsburgh at 6:40. So, and I've got to say this. We're talking college football. You got me kind of fired up a little bit. It's already warm in here. I'm thinking about Saturday morning, college game day and stuff. Well, let's talk FCS for a second, and that is Football Championship Subdivision, which was formerly known as Division I AA.
Right.
It sounds like moving forward, they're going to try to turn their schedule into a 12-game regular season schedule beginning in 2026, if that is approved by the Division I Council in June. They're meeting June 24th and 25th. To see if they're going to move from 11 to 12 games in the regular season, which, by the way, is something the FBS, which is big boy D1 football, the SEC's Big Tens of the world, they moved to 12 games in 2006.
Well, obviously, that'll push the beginning of the FCS playoffs back 1 week, which it's easily done because now they used to play their championship game. If you remember going down to Chattanooga, watching it down there at Finley Stadium, that game is now played in January. There's about a 2-week layoff between the semifinals and the championship game. So they'll just push the playoffs back 1 week, the beginning, and it'll just push everything back. It'll still get done about the same time they've been getting it done anyway. But that one extra game, Andy, can be the difference between being in the black or being in the red financially.
Yes.
And these schools, listen, we all know that they're the sacrificial lambs to a lot of FBS teams. They're the homecoming opponent. They get drilled 57-3, but they make a boatload of money. And it funds the football program, the basketball, funds their entire athletic department a lot of times. So this extra game could be a financial windfall for a lot of these FCS schools.
Yeah, and I do think that's something, specifically we've talked about on our show when we speak with our friend Jim Reynolds, the mocks. they might be able to schedule some of these big schools to not only make a little bit of money, but some that aren't necessarily the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Tennessees of the world. They might be able to go play an ACC team and be competitive with them.
Or play at Boise State if you're out west.
Fun experiences,
So,
yeah.
if you say you're Montana or you're Montana State or North Dakota State, play at Boise State, play at Colorado. I mean, that would be fun stuff. I mean, you'll see an upset here and there. Listen, we all know how good North Dakota State's been, and that's a team that you're almost like.
A lot of schools don't want to schedule.
I'm a little bit leery to play those guys because they can flat out. They've got some athletes on those rosters.
Is it Colorado that plays them this year? I believe I'm going to look that up while we're talking about it. I'm going to actually do that.
We've got the FCS going to maybe talking about going to 12 games, and then over the weekend we're going to see some news coming out if the FBS is going to expand their playoffs from the current 12 to possibly 16.
I'm here for it.
We've got a lot of stuff going on, and if they did that, you'd have 4 SEC and 4 Big Ten would be guaranteed. The ACC and the Big 12 would both get 2. The group of 6 would get 1, and that would leave you with 3 at-large bids. If this all comes true, and listen, we all know the Big Ten and SEC are ruling. They want it to be done. So guess what? It's going to get done.
Yeah. So this was actually this past fall when Colorado played North Dakota State, and the final score was 31-26.
Right.
And Colorado, listen, I know we've got the Deion/Colorado haters out there. I understand. But listen, Colorado was a competitive football team. They're a program that's been turned around by Deion Sanders and played at some really, really good teams to some really good games. And your national champs for 1AA, previously known, played them to a 31-26 game.
Listen,
you're going to see a lot more of that in this scenario.
We've seen North Dakota State upset Iowa in the years past. We've seen, listen, it happens from time to time.
Appy State and Michigan.
Appalachian State beat Michigan. I mean, gosh, I don't know if you know this. Did you know that when Appalachian State beat Michigan, that was the very first game ever broadcast by the Big Ten Network? Game number 1, and maybe the most memorable upset of a FCS beating an FBS team. Yeah, so
well, as a Notre Dame / Chattanooga Mocs guy sitting over here, I can promise you I remember it very well, and I was going crazy being a Notre Dame fan, not only pulling against Michigan, but being a Chattanooga Mocs guy pulling for that SoCon team at the time, which now, of course, App State, I messed up again. I called them Appy State. App State is now with the big boys as well.
If you remember back in 2020, the COVID year, the Mocs played Western Kentucky. And really, it took a absolute blown call by the official that prevented the Mocs from winning that football game. The Mocs were going to win that game. The officials completely blew a call, and it cost UTC the win. So we've seen the Mocs be competitive. I remember when Georgia State first jumped up from the FCS to the FBS, the Mocs beat them. So the Mocs have actually got a win as an FCS over FBS, and that was the first year, but it still counts. So we've seen stuff like this before.
And I believe, wasn't it Georgia State this past year that their FCS team themselves, or excuse me, an FBS team now themselves, and Chattanooga went down there to Atlanta and played them to
lights out
to a very solid performance.
What's your biggest memory of Georgia State Panther football?
My biggest memory, honestly, so this is just because I'm a Braves fan, but the first game in Turner Field as it being a football stadium.
I remember when they went to Knoxville and beat the Vols.
Oh,
my gosh.
You just poked the bear right there. The Vol fans are angry.
And then if you remember, the very next week, the Vols got beat by BYU.
I remember
back
that.
to back. I mean, the Wolves were out in droves. Now, the Vols fans were not happy campers.
Yeah,
man.
I remember that. That was that's something that Tennessee fans have definitely been glad to put behind them.
Dark days of Vols football. It really was. You had just horrendous.
Jim's over here just trying to get the volunteer fans
horrendous
hyped
coaching.
up on Friday.
The best thing that happened to Vols football was getting Josh Heupel, because when you had Pruitt, and before them you had Butch Jones. I mean, just terrible head coaches. They did not have a clue. And what happened, Tennessee went cheap with their head coach. Listen, you get what you pay for. When you get a Butch Jones or you get a Jeremy Pruitt, these are the results that you should expect, and that's exactly what happened. So, and of course, it all started with Derek Dooley. So you had Dooley, Jones, Pruitt, just terrible hire. And then the Vols said, you know what, we got to do something different. They get Josh Heupel, and obviously the program is much better now.
So that game was 2019. It does not seem like it was that long ago.
Gosh.
Georgia State beat Tennessee 38-30. What was that? Butch Jones era?
That was Jeremy Pruitt.
Okay, that was Jeremy Pruitt.
Yeah, the Butch Jones era. Listen, it basically was a lap, a kind of an overlap, because you had a bunch of players that had been recruited by Butch Jones playing for Jeremy Pruitt. Just embarrassing football. Listen.
Again, sorry to bring that up, Tennessee fans.
Listen, I hate to say this, but when you looked at the recruiting rankings back then, Tennessee was like in the 40s and 50s and 60s. They were not. You got to be top 20 at the very least.
Well, Josh Heupel is definitely taking care of business now.
Oh.
Got the Volunteers back on the right track.
Although losing Ian Maliava, that is a big blow for Tennessee football. At the quarterback position, I don't know how that team's going to look in 2025, because I just don't have any confidence in the quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't. And maybe I'll be proven wrong.
My take on that is Nico didn't perform big in big games. He did what he was supposed to do against teams he was supposed to beat. So I don't think it's as big of a loss as a lot of people look at it. And not only that, I do think a guy who had not really done a lot to deserve to get paid wanted to get paid more. And so I think Tennessee made the financial correct decision, and I think morale and locker room wise, they made the correct decision.
Well, I mean, like I said, my thing is that you've got a year of experience that now you've lost. That he had that year under his belt. I believe he was going to be much better this year had he stayed in Knoxville. We'll never know now, because he's got to learn a new system at UCLA. The new quarterback that that the Vols just signed, he's got to learn their system. He didn't get to go through spring practice. You know, we'll see how it all unfolds, but it's going to be fun to watch. We know that.
No, absolutely. Jim's got me fired up. I hope he's got you fired up for college football now.
Every day, brother, every day.
Even though I'm going to go home and enjoy some Atlanta Braves baseball, I'm starting to feel like college football itch coming along a little bit now.
Listen to this. Do you know who Phil Steele is? You know the Phil Steele magazine?
Yes.
That magazine goes to press in 28 days.
That's crazy.
28 days, man. So it's right around the corner, partner.
So one of them that I always go to is the Athlon Sports.
Yep.
Those are for probably since 2000.
Lindy's and Athlon.
Yeah, Lindy's and Athlon, and they do the specific, either the SEC preview or the local Tennessee preview. They do so many quality magazines
and great photography too.
Yeah, they are. And with the internet now, it's a little bit of a lost art. But I as soon as I know Books A Million's going to have them in stock, I go over there and I get that
too.
magazine and I carry it around with me. That's part of me is kind of old school right there. I still like a good football magazine.
It is fun to have, and it's good to have right there in front of you. You can reference stuff instantly sometimes. But no, I'm old school when it comes to that. I mean, listen, I'm old school for everything because I am old school. What can I say?
Jim Gum invented old school. What are you talking about?
I'm so old, I named dirt. You've heard of older than dirt?
Oh, yeah.
I'm so old, I named
dirt.
Yeah, so.
Listen, so this is one thing, and then we're going to jump off here because we're going off the rails. But last night I discovered core childhood memory, man. Playing baseball out at Industrial Park. I know you know that well.
I coached out there, man.
Absolutely.
I love it.
So you remember the bubble gum you used to get in the bucket, and they had the green apple, the purple grape, and then they had the blue, yellow, and red wrap, just regular bubble gum flavor.
Regular bubble gum.
So
that's what I always like.
So that's Super Bubble. And, of course, they have a competitor that was Double Bubble that have similar flavors. They don't make Super Bubble anymore.
That's what's wrong with our youth.
Oh my
today.
gosh!
That is what's wrong with our youth. You don't have double bubble gum. Come on, man. That's where our youth they're lacking.
I figured that out. It's Super Bubble. So the Double Bubble still exists.
Oh, okay. The Super Bubble doesn't.
But the good one that you used to be able to go to the concession stand at the ballpark or to the gas station and get the paper bag for 5 cents a piece of gum and fill that bag up. They do not make that anymore. Super Bubble is my absolute favorite. I'm so upset over that.
The kids today, they've missed out on stuff like that. And I'll tell you another thing they've missed out on. And you were probably a kid. You remember Toys R Us?
Yeah,
I think that the biggest travesty is those stores going away.
This is my favorite place to get baseball cards.
It was a great place for a kid to peruse up and down the aisle. Listen, I used to take my daughter there. We'd spend 2 hours in the Barbie section, man. She had to pick up the right particular Barbie. I said, honey, you can get one Barbie doll today. And she'd take her time and look at them and go through kids today. Well, we'll just get it on Amazon, honey. Come on, the kids got to touch it and feel it. I'm sorry. I hate that the Toys R Us have gone away. I think it's a real tragedy for the youth. I really do.
Yeah,
I really think
that
it's
was
wrong.
that was my favorite place to go get the season sets of baseball cards.
Oh yeah,
and then take them to the card shows
you
and try to
remember the Disney
exchange them.
store? You remember the Disney store at the mall?
I do.
That's gone away too.
Yep.
It's a shame, man.
Listen, if there's anything that you can confirm from today's show, it's that Jim is old. I'm old at heart. And you know what? At the end of the day, we're both girl dads and Barbie guys.
Yes.
So take that to the house.
I'm a girl dad and proud to be a girl dad, but I love sports, man.
Absolutely.
You know, especially football. But I love Major League Baseball, and the Braves are playing the Pirates today. Will the Braves get over 500? That's the big
trying to get to 500 with a win tonight against one of the worst teams in baseball. You're at 500, so hoping for the best. Once again, you'll be able to catch that game at 6:40 on Mix 104.1. For Jim Gum, I'm Andy Morris. I had a lot of fun on the show today. Did a little extra innings overtime. Always enjoy when we get to do that. We'll be back with you guys next week on Monday. Jim, you're with me on Monday?
I'll be here Monday and Tuesday. Friday, unfortunately, I'm not available. So
okay, so listen, we might bring him on another day, sneak him in here, but we'll continue our Toys R Us and Barbie,
the Disney store.
Conversation on Monday. How about that?
Like
You've been listening to The Drive on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. We'll talk to you guys next week.
From the Kia of Cleveland Studios, this is ESPN Cleveland 101.3, WCLE HD2 Cleveland, W267BI Cleveland, ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
The top of the hour is presented by Best Buy Metals, making the top of your house the best it can be. Visit bestbuymetalroofing.com.
And by the way, you want to get a ticket?
Whoa!
Two different questions and two different answers. I think.
The high end is 50 grand.
Well, I know a guy.
Yeah, I know a guy. Can you get me in?
Don't look at me.
No, come on, Al.
You know